a rough go of it. They're trying to snap a 3-game losing streak. They're 4-4, and Pepperdine has already beaten 2 NCAA tournament teams from last year, despite being 3-5. They have a win against UC Irvine, a win against Abilene Christian, and here on Thanksgiving night, John, they gave Arizona all they could handle.
It was an absolutely awesome game back and forth. I think it was one of the best basketball games of the season so far, but again, you can't bottle up made shots. You got to bottle up the things that gave you the confidence to knock them down.
From the outside, Emmett Holt with the miss, and it's cleared by Pepperdine, wearing the home whites in this one. And the Waves are shorthanded. They were shorthanded to come into this tournament, and now we're dealing without 2 starters in this game that had been in the lineup for Lorenzo Romar. As you look at the Paycom starting 5, and there is no Johnny Smith. He is out with an illness, and also Cameron Edwards is out as well, as he suffered a broken nose in the game here Friday night. So Lorenzo Romar trying to figure out how to win today without those guys. There is Cameron Edwards.
Cameron Edwards was great. Came back, finished the game. Couldn't breathe through his nose. Had a couple boxes of tissues in each side. So I give the kid credit for fighting through it, but you got to get him better for conference play.
Hey, sometimes you just got to play hurt.
Look, you did it.
Up to the best of my ability Friday night. A turnover by Providence. It goes over to Pepperdine.
It's a little different for us, though.
Yeah, that's true. I'm not moving up and down
Gosh,
the floor.
the common cold is killing me. I mean, seriously, we're not running up and down the floor. These guys play somewhat hurt every single night. I don't know if there was ever a time when I played that you really felt great.
Maybe at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, but even then, you're coming off of conditioning. I mean, these guys are constantly fighting through something.
Skylar Chavez on the drive to the hoop, and Chavez, who led all of California Junior College last year in scoring, averaging 28 a game, with our game's first points.
Well, with the space around the perimeter, you got a few extra shooters on the floor. Again, no Cameron Edwards. So you've got shooters around the perimeter. You should have space. One-on-one basketball might be where you live.
How does Lorenzo Romar adjust without Cameron Edwards and without Johnny Smith here?
Well, first, you got to give the guys like Paul Jr. and Obioha, you got to give them confidence. And you just got to say, go play. Don't be them, be yourselves. That's always the challenge. When you replace someone like you and I, we can't emulate and think we're going to be good. We can't be anybody else. You just got to call your game. These guys got to go out and contribute the way they can contribute. That's it.
Turnaround on the baseline, 4-0 Pepperdine is Victor Obioha with the bucket, the sophomore from Nigeria.
And that helps. And where that helps is not like he's going to go give you 30, but if he can play confident basketball on the offensive end, it's going to make him a better player.
Khalif Young, the first points for the Friars, the senior from Vaughan, Ontario.
And how many times have you seen teams deal with adversity and be better because of it? And it could be an opportunity for just that.
Foul on the pass against Providence. There is Lorenzo Romar. It's his second stint as the Pepperdine head coach. His first go-around was in the late 90s, his first head coaching job. 3 years in Malibu, then went to St. Louis before a 15-year run at his alma mater, Washington, where he won the Wooden Legacy with the Huskies in 2014.
Well, the biggest key is he knows how to win here. That's the biggest key. Now granted, the West Coast Conference was a little different back then. It's still competitive. It's much more of a challenge to make yourself a consistent competitor in the West Coast Conference today.
Out of bounds to Providence. Ed Cooley on the other side, 9th year of Providence. He's taken the Friars to the NCAA tournament 5 times, 5 years at Fairfield as well. Postseason each of the last 7 years for Ed Cooley.
And this, to me, when you look at the individuals, this is a postseason team. This is an NCAA tournament team. The problem is that they're just not playing up to that yet. And I really do. I think it comes down to a couple losses make you start to question things. And it's not just question teammates, it's question yourselves. And you've got to instill confidence. That's going to be what makes this team a competitor.
Emmett Holt, the offensive foul. 3 minutes in, 4-2 Pepperdine. Skylar Chavez. Long on a corner 3, and the rebound out of bounds. Providence basketball.
Colbey Ross is going to remember that. The double out top. They're going to get the ball out of his hands, which means they're going to be open shooters. Skylar Chavez has to be the guy then. Say he's got to knock down 3 or 4 threes to keep this thing a ball game.
In their game against Arizona on Thursday night, the starters had all 91 points. for Pepperdine in that game is a rebound by Kessler Edwards, the younger brother of the injured Cameron Edwards.
Yeah, but I felt like that group just had it going together. It wasn't just individually. They had it going together. There's Skylar Chavez, open three, knocks it down. I'm telling you, he's got to be a guy. He's going to draw defense. He's going to be covered by a 3 or 4 at least. He's got to keep that lane open by drawing his defender out.
There was the scoring for Pepperdine, and 3 with 20+ in the game as a block is called on Colbey Ross of Pepperdine, his first foul against the Waves.
Don't you think that because of this point of emphasis for flopping, you've seen a lot less charges? I feel like
I've seen some reluctance here with people to get in there.
Yeah, I do. I feel like, look, I mean, is that really a charge? Probably not. Maybe. I don't know. But I feel in years past, we've seen a lot of defenders get that call, even if it was taking a flop.
And a foul over the back on Alpha Diallo of Providence. 7-2 Pepperdine out to a lead.
There's a ride.
Yeah, there's a ride.
The Millennium Falcon is a ride. I just thought it was there for eye candy.
Well, no, that part, that is, but
okay.
There is a Star Wars ride there.
I don't want you to get people excited about something that doesn't exist. I know
it's worth getting excited about, let me tell you.
There's a ride there, but I didn't know that I thought you were saying that the Millennium Falcon itself, like,
no,
you hop in that thing and
but it's like you're in the Millennium Falcon.
Okay, I got you.
Not that specific one, though.
I thought that was cool. I rolled up to a life-size Millennium Falcon, and that was kind of cool. I'm sorry. It was. I grew up with Star Wars.
So foul on David Duke of Providence.
What a brilliant move, not to get away from the game. What a brilliant move, though. You bring Star Wars into the Disney realm, and then you start to bring multiple generations into it. Great move. Jan Zedek. It was a great move because it was a great read. On the movement, he looks like he's going out to set a screen, and then he curls tight because he felt the defender on his outside hip.
Jan Zedek, the son of former UCLA center George Zedek, who was the starting center on their 1995 national championship team, which Lorenzo Romar was an assistant to Jim Herrick at UCLA. As Alpha Diallo on the offensive glass for Providence.
That's where Providence has to be aggressive. They have to get after it on the offensive glass, particularly when you look kind of that versatility across the board. I also feel like Providence needs to cut a little hard. I think they play hard, but offensively at times they get a little lost, and the cuts aren't strong enough. Talk about Jan Zedek having a feel for the game. And this is just, he's going to kind of show. He's going to curl hard. There he is. At first, it looked like he was going to come across, maybe helps. There's no defense. Good dive. And that's where Colbey Ross, he's getting a lot of attention. 2 guys go with him. Somebody's going to be open. And it's not just up to you to make a play. It's up just to get open.
Nice pass underneath and the drop in for A.J. Reeves.
And a good back cut and sit down. Look, when you back cut, you don't immediately vacate. If you're open, you stay, you show hands. The second the defender comes, you got to get out.
Colbey Ross trying to get on track. And the long rebound goes to Malik White for Providence.
Malik White's been good defensively on Colbey Ross. And I think sometimes it's challenging. It's like a challenge for players when they start to double someone else. What you're saying to me as a defender is, I can't handle this guy on my own. So you turn it up a notch. And I think that's what you're saying. Malik White's locked in defensively. He's on the bench. Trying to give a guy love here.
He doesn't want to let him get an inflated ego themselves.
Right.
He's got to keep him in check. Poked away from Colbey Ross, but scooped up by Skylar Chavez. As Lawan Pipkins, the grad transfer from UMass, pressuring Ross. That's a really good matchup with Ross going up against Pipkins as Zedek steps out for a 3. And how about the freshman from the Czech Republic?
Zedek's certainly going to have to be good. Again, we mentioned that no Cameron Edwards broken nose. With Johnny Smith, someone else has to make an impact on this game. Doing my best not to say step up.
Wave it off, and an offensive foul on Nate Watson.
It was an offensive foul, but I like the move. And it's where if you're Ed Cooley, he's clapping. He's got a smile on his face. He likes the move. This is in space. Turn, knock everybody out of the way. Again, offensive foul, but that's something that you can say, good physical move. I like it.
5 team fouls against the Friars as Cedric Altman, a freshman from Rialto, is in for Pepperdine. Zidek spots up. And the long rebound, batted free. Altman runs it down for Pepperdine. Again, the shot clock resetting in the offensive end to 20. Off a miss that hits the rim as Zidek launches from NBA range. And the rebound off the Diallo for Providence.
I really like it. I like the activity from Zidek. He's not just looking to screen. He's looking to pick and pop, get open, and take shots.
Luan Pipkins. And that's a good sign for Ed Cooley considering the way he struggled here on Friday. And Pipkins gets his first three-pointer to go.
What did I say? My 3 C's: confidence, continuity, and consistency. If Providence can build on that, they'll be a good basketball team.
He was scoreless against the College of Charleston Friday, Pipkins. Was 0 for 8 from the floor, and 5 of those were threes. Stripped out of bounds. Cedric Altman knocked it away from Emmett Holt, who's wondering, how come I didn't get a call?
Well, the entire Providence bench is thinking the same thing. And if you watch the body language and the facial expressions of Pepperdine, I think they felt like they got away with one, too. This little inside-out play, make Chavez cover 30 feet. There you go. That's simple basketball.
And Ed Cooley needs Luan Pipkins. This is a big-time scorer.
Yes.
In his 3 years at UMass, he lit up Providence each season.
But who you are on that team versus who you are here is completely different. He may start to peak late in season, and you just got to be patient, or he can start to turn it on right now.
So he gets the roll, and he pulls Providence to within 1.
I think the key for Providence defensively is not going to be chasing the basketball. Don't send 2 guys at the ball. Don't overhelp. Overhelping is like an epidemic in college basketball.
Colbey Ross going inside. Corner 3, Cedric Altman for Pepperdine. And the rebound falls to Luan Pipkins for Providence. And the Friars have a chance to take the lead. And they give it right back, leading to a 2-on-1. Colbey Ross to the bucket. First points for the junior from Aurora, Colorado.
And that's a really tough situation there for Providence. He had a great defensive possession. Now you throw it away twice in a row.
3-point lead for Pepperdine. 7th place game in Anaheim.
The great drive, though. I actually got out yesterday, drove around a little bit, got into Laguna, did PCH.
Look at you. You got out yesterday.
Yeah, I did. I did. Look, I used to live here.
That's true.
So I had to, bring back some memories. Then I hit traffic and brought back some memories.
Too many memories.
Took my wife to the airport last night. That was amazing. I've never seen so many people have to go to the airport at the same time.
First foul, Luan Pipkins. LAX is not fun.
Oh.
Avoid it at all costs.
Foxy, not all of us have access to jets. Just saying.
There are other airports here in Southern California. As the second 3 for Jan Zidek, who already has a career-high 8 points.
He's been very mobile, though. That's the thing. He's seeking out opportunities, and he's taking every shot with confidence. I credit Lorenzo Romar for that, too. Guys who want more playing time. There you go. Polk Jr. with a steal.
He had 4 steals here on Friday as Zidek running the floor as the shot changed by A.J. Reeves, and Providence pushes it back the other way. Alpha Diallo backing down, and a foul. That was just a mismatch, and Daryl Polk had no chance to try to play physically against Alpha Diallo.
Obi-Oha was in good position just to help. And if that's the case, what you do, you have to tell your teammate, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here. Because that allows Polk Jr. to let off a little bit. He knows he's got help.
Alpha Diallo trying to power his way inside, and a foul going for the rebound. will stay at this end. It's on Jan Zedek of Pepperdine.
Zedek's been active. He's been fighting, and I think Alpha Diallo is the guy. To me,
he needs to be the alpha.
Well done.
Thank you. I go for the low-hanging fruit.
Yeah, he's been the beta for a little while. I mean, look, he does. No, seriously, he has to be more assertive. He's going to have the matchup every single night. He's got size. He's got the ability to put the ball on the floor. He's got to be the guy that just brings it all together, really.
He has the ability to be a big-time player. As he drives to the foul, we'll get to the line.
No, here's the thing. He is a big-time player, and the problem is people know that, so they scout him differently. They shade his way. If he puts the ball on the floor, someone else is going to be there to help. So he has to learn to play as, he can do it again, but he learns how to play as the alpha.
Second foul on Zedek. Alpha Diallo at the line. Senior from New York. 21st annual Big Ten ACC Challenge. Tuesday, our doubleheader starts in Louisville with the #2 Cardinals hosting Michigan at 7:30. Where will Michigan be ranked?
Yeah, right.
That game tips off. Then it's Trey Jones at #1 Duke taking on Cassius Winston, #3 Michigan State from East Lansing. Two great matchups on ESPN and the ESPN app as Diallo gets 1 out of 2. So where will Michigan be ranked when that game tips off?
The truth is, as much as I want to say, oh, they should be a top 5 team, I still think that's just utter lunacy. Just this concept of we know where teams are at this moment. Like, at this point, yes, they're probably one of the best teams in the country. Do I think they're going to be one of the best teams in the country as Kessler Edwards gets one to go? I really don't think they're one of the best teams in the country. I just think they're playing the best basketball right now. The one that matters is in March. After, it's in April. That's really the only one that matters. So you got to build up to that. And right now, they're at a point where they're playing really well together.
Attacking the basket. And Malik White will get to the line for the Friars. Pepperdine has matched their largest lead. Cedric Altman to foul his first.
I mean, the most ridiculous thing about those rankings is they're based off of where we had teams to start the season. What's that based on? That's based on this idea that all the young hotshot freshmen that come into college basketball are going to be great. That's not always the case. And even if they are great, it doesn't mean the team's going to be great.
What'd you see from Maryland? Speaking of teams that are ranked high, what'd you see from them in Orlando this weekend?
Well, I saw a team that made some adjustments defensively and got really good. I saw a team that started to develop other guys in terms of Anthony Cowan's been great. Wiggins is finally coming together. Eric Ayala looks very solid. Stick Smith is going to be a major impact on that program. Obviously, he's a lottery pick. But that's a team that everything's starting to come together. There's no real clear-cut star, but they have a lot of dudes who are really good. And I also think, we don't say this enough, but when a team is a reflection of their coach, you're going to be a better basketball team. I always said this about Indiana and Archie Miller. We got Sean Miller coming up later today. Archie can't coach the Indiana team that Indiana fans may want to see. He's got to coach a team that fits his personality. And I think the team that Mark Turgeon has right now fits his personality very well.
Cedric Altman the pull-up in the key, and the rebound cleared by Providence and Emmett Holt.
I like Pepperdine's pace. They're really looking to push the pace. And so far, done a good job out of it. I think it's put this Providence team defensively on their heels.
Tough shot of the baseline for A.J. Reeves.
There you go. Love it.
Transition three. Skylar Chavez, his second triple.
You know, it forces you to play defense for 30 seconds when you have a team that's willing to shoot it quickly in transition.
This is a really skilled Pepperdine team, as Nate Watson gets his first points. But as a club, Pepperdine shooting 39% from three. And they're also the #1 foul shooting team in America, as Pepperdine as a club is 86.9% from the line, and they're going to the line. Now they're in the bonus for the final 8.5 of the first half.
Look, you and I, we had Penn, right? Penn is a shoot threes or get layups type of team. It's pretty much what everybody's looking to do right now. The willingness to shoot a three in transition opens up the opportunity to get easy layups. You get easy layups, they sag off, you get open threes. It's the toughest thing to defend.
As soon as I was
you did it.
putting them up on the pedestal for how good they are at the line, They succumb to the broadcaster's jinx.
I think you should actually consider that 0 for 2.
Falls off from Diallo in the rebound. Kessler Edwards for the Waves.
It's like how I play golf. I make up my own rules.
As many mulligans as you want.
Unless I'm playing against my brother. He likes to change things and make me play straight up. Typical.
You don't like staying within the confines of the rules, do you? So pull up and a foul will get Kessler Edwards to the line for Pepperdine. Pepperdine heading back to the stripe. The Waves have led from the outset here against Providence. But really closes it coolly. But I'm indebted to Bob Driscoll. He was the associate athletic director at Cal when I graduated from Cal and was very instrumental in helping me get the radio job when I finished up my undergraduate work at Berkeley, and was very supportive. And at 22 years of age, I was hired as the radio voice of Cal basketball.
Have you expressed gratitude from that support with 10% of your income?
No, not that.
He's incredibly well dressed too. That's a good look.
Saying that's how an athletic director should look.
Yeah, he just.
Nate Watson for the Friars.
It's like business sport professional. I don't really know if that's a thing, but
you just made it a thing.
Yeah.
At one time, Bob Driscoll was a hockey player.
Jeez.
Collegiately, yeah.
There are those people, though. I could say the same thing. When I got started in this business, there was people that just gave you an opportunity.
Yeah. And you just need an opportunity to get in the door, and he was a big influence for me.
You do have to be good.
Alpha Diallo with the runner, and it's a one-point game.
They finally had great spacing on the ball reversal, close out on the wing, and Alpha Diallo had a lane to the basket.
Nice pass to a cutting Edwards, but the ball stripped, and now Providence a chance for the lead. Too strong from A.J. Reeves, but the hustling rebound, David Duke. Another chance on the reload for A.J. Reeves. It's cleared by Pepperdine.
Get it while you're hot shot. Look, I always like going back to the guy that just missed. I don't care that he just missed again. I throw it to him again.
Colbey Ross, the one-hand leaner in the key, and Alpha Diallo clears it for the Friars.
There's a good flow to this game. The only problem is the turnovers for Providence have actually helped Pepperdine. Right now, Pepperdine 10 points off turnovers. Only 2 for Providence.
And Providence has their first lead as Nate Watson for the Friars.
And that's, again, a product of room to work. Trying to not use word spacing too much, but that's a product of having room to work. One-on-one, an ISO situation, you're going to have your way.
I've been impressed, John, with the way Providence has defended Colbey Ross so far. They've made it tough on him. Even though Ross got the bucket, nothing is coming easy for Colbey Ross.
Yeah, and look, if you're covering somebody, I don't mean to put him in this category, but you're covering somebody like Marcus Howard, right? He's going to take tough shots. You just have to live with him taking the toughest shot possible. The same goes for Colbey Ross. Like, he's going to take tough shots. He's going to make some. But you got to live with the fact that you're forcing him into the toughest shot possible.
Through the hands and another.
Floor. I don't know if it's a ball game at all.
He's 13 assists behind Jeremy Major from becoming the all-time assist leader in Pepperdine history, and he's only a junior. 27th in Waves history in scoring is Skylar Chavez, short from long 2 range.
And that's part of it. The reason why I get so many assists, it's not just being a great passer, it's understanding how the defense rotates because of what you do as a scorer. It's one of those things I wish I knew then. I just wanted to score.
David Duke with a hard drive will get to the free throw line for Providence.
And that's been an issue for Pepperdine. As that ball swings, defense comes up off their back off their heels. They sit back down. Instead of taking that drive away, they open up and they open up the lane. You get the seal. If the big man seals, keeps that blocker away, you're going to have a lane to the basket every single time.
Second on Cedric Altman. And David Duke, who is an 83% foul shooter. He had a career-high 22 against the College of Charleston, the sophomore, in the ball game here Friday night. Wednesday, 21st annual Big Ten ACC Challenge rolls on. Notre Dame and number 5 Maryland in game 1 at 7:30 Eastern. Then we're off to the Dean Dome for Ohio State, taking on Cole Anthony and number 6 North Carolina. Two great matchups on ESPN and the ESPN app. Maryland, Notre Dame, then Ohio State and Carolina. Friars by 1. Waves by 1.
I really like the trap in the corner on Colbey Ross, but he does a great job finding his teammates. You got to credit Skylar Chavez. When your teammates being trapped, you don't run away from the basketball. You make yourself available to alleviate that pressure, and it was the one extra pass led to an easy layup.
Slipping to the bucket and the drop in for Khalif Young.
And Pepperdine, they're attacking offensively, but on the defensive end, sometimes you just got to play a little more safe basketball. You know, you start to jump some passing lanes, you get back cut, you give up too many easy layups, and then you play the first to 100 game. That's going to be a challenge.
Kessler Edwards backing his way in. And it falls off with a rebound. Grabbed by Khalif Young, and here comes Providence. Crossover, David Duke. And the rebound, here comes Colbey Ross with some speed. Hustling back, Lawan Pipkins knocks it out of bounds. It's back and forth between the Friars and the Waves.
Yeah, we got a good little flow going, and I got to say, I do think that actually gives the advantage to Pepperdine. They want to be able to get. We know they're going to buy this because they're here. Like, it's amazing you walk through there.
We're going to get it. Yeah. One way or another, we're going to get it.
I made the mistake of sending pictures back to, like, my sisters, say, hey, you think so-and-so would like this? Yeah. And then I look at the price. I'm like, of course they will.
Kessler Edwards, too strong with the left hand. The rebound, Khalif Young. So Providence, who started just hitting one of their first 6, has settled in. They've made 10 of their last 16 shots.
Well, both teams are getting good shots.
And there's a corner 3 from Malik White.
And part of the reason why they're getting good shots is they're able to move the basketball. Both teams are showing a willingness to back cut. Both teams showing a willingness to drive it. If you got teams that want to drive it and also shoot threes, you tend to soften your defense up a little bit, able to move the basketball, find continuity that way.
Corner 3 from Darryl Polk Jr., then going for the offensive rebound, a push-off.
You say you got to pass and cut, pass and cut. Sometimes when the ball gets inside, it's best just to take a breath. See what the defense does. You might get open by standing.
One more coming for Khalif Young, the senior.
And I'll tell you, that's something that the Euro game does really well. The NBA does it pretty well because you got so many stars where if I'm playing on the floor with LeBron James, what do you think I'm going to do, cut to the ball? No, I'm going to get out of the way. And by default, I'll get open. So you see that kind of come into the college game. Euro games like that, a ball screen on one side, backside, they're just standing. They're making a read.
7 straight for Providence to go up 6. And then a foul on the perimeter against the Friars. And it's on Greg Gant, his first. The freshman will send Kessler Edwards to the line. 1-1, the 9th team foul. Sophomore from Rancho Cucamonga, all freshman West Coast Conference last year.
He's got a nice game. He really does. He's active.
It's tough.
He looks to take jump shots. He is tough. Shame they don't have Cameron Edwards today. That'd be a different story. He can influence the basketball game on both sides.
And Johnny Smith, also a really good glue player for this Pepperdine team.
I think we undervalue the glue guys, right? Like, we use it as a term that's like, yeah, he's not the main guy, and he's not even the second guy, but he's the glue guy. Look, glue guys are like those great locker room connectors. The great locker room connectors makes the team better.
Malik White. And the weak side rebound, Alpha Diallo for Providence in a reset. Pipkins. And the rebound, Darryl Polk Jr. for Pepperdine.
Getting good looks. Good looks help you build confidence. If you know you're going to get good shots, you're going to continue to move the basketball. That's what Providence has been able to do. That's why they have a 4-point lead.
Khalif Young with the steal for Providence. Final 2 minutes of the first half. Pepperdine led by as many as 7 early. Greg Gant missing from the corner and battling for the rebound, and it's a Providence ball. Juwan Pipkins turns it over. 9 turnovers by Providence, and hustling down the floor, Kessler Edwards drops it in.
Turnovers, but Pepperdine's scoring off a lot of those turnovers. Providence has played good defense, but if you give up a turnover that leads to a layup, it's a backbreaker. Kessler
Edwards leads all scorers for Pepperdine with 9. As a 3 drained and a pretty stroke from Greg Gantz.
Gantz, a guy is going to get better and better once he develops better instincts. And when I say better instincts, you start to anticipate a little bit more. You get more open looks. You foul less on the defensive end. They pick that steal up.
Pepperdine going inside and stumbling, and a travel. Yes, a walk on Victor Obioha of Pepperdine.
Go back to this. This team is starting to move the basketball really well. And if you move it well, you
our ESPN crew on the Sunday evening in Southern California. Still waiting. Our championship game will close out the Wooden Legacy, Arizona, and Wake Forest still to come at 9 Eastern. There's a long 3.
Look out.
With Malik White, and the follow from Nate Watson, who's been really active for the Friars.
When you set screens, your defender has to help. When your defender helps, you got a clear line to the basket. Even if he doesn't pick up that rebound, if the shot doesn't go up, he's in position.
Largest lead for Providence. The layup missed by Kessler Edwards. And the offensive rebound and a foul will put Victor Obioha at the line for the Waves.
Kessler Edwards is just shaking his head. That's what we talk about. Look, Kessler Edwards has to come out and take that shot away because get screened. That's really what it's all about. You set a big screen, defense has to come out. Now, excuse me, that was Nate Watson.
Pepperdine uncharacteristically now 3 of 6 at the line. And Ed Cooley will take his use it or lose it timeout.
Look, sports are sport, right? There's so many similarities to all these different sports. And so much of it, the most important thing to all of it is confidence.
Obioha misses both, and now the Friars can play for the last shot of the half. Providence has gotten 20 of their 38 from the bench.
Well, if you're Providence right now, you want the ball to move. You don't want it to stick. Now you allow this defense for Pepperdine to just settle in, watch the basketball. Set defense is the best defense.
Alpha Diallo drives, and it's swatted by Obioha. Colbey Ross shot blocked. And we go to halftime in Anaheim. 38-31. Providence overcomes a slow start, and they're up 7 at the half.
Yeah, I feel like Providence missed an opportunity there to get that ball moving again, make that defense work.
Short-handed in this one. Now, they took good care of the ball, and it was 9 Providence turnovers that really fueled Pepperdine early in this game.
Yeah, Pepperdine got out and got some easy baskets, but I got to give Ed Cooley and Providence a lot of credit. Once they settled in, right, it's almost as if, day 3 of this tournament, really probably day 5 or 6 of their trip, they're fatigued. Once they settled in, the continuity was there. They're moving the basketball, better rhythm to the game.
Providence scored 26 of the final 38 points of the first half, after Pepperdine led by as many as 7. Those 9 turnovers in the first half by Providence helped Pepperdine, and then Providence started taking better care of the basketball. Colbey Ross, 1-on-4, will slow it up, and then feeds it to Kessler Edwards, out of bounds. And it stays with Pepperdine, but the Waves playing without Kessler Edwards' older brother Cameron, who broke his nose in the game here on Friday in their loss against UCF. Also, Jody Smith not available for Lorenzo Romar, another starter, as there is Cameron Edwards. But Jody Smith out with an illness. In fact, he was getting sick behind the bench here on Friday night. Also, Keith Smith, the transfer from Oregon, is still out with a knee injury. They're hoping to get him back by the time West Coast Conference play opens up. And Andre Ball is lost for the year. So Lorenzo Romar trying to hold this thing together, especially in the absence of the 2 guys he doesn't have today.
It's a team with great potential, particularly in the West Coast Conference. And if you're Lorenzo Romar, what you're trying to do is you're building, right? Colbey Ross gets the 3 to go, out of bounds underneath. Ed Cooley's not okay with that.
That's the one guy you really need to account for Providence.
But I say out of bounds underneath. No one should ever score. They should never score. You've seen everything they do out of bounds underneath. There's no force them to get a catch and play defense. Should never give up a basket on an out of bounds underneath.
Loose ball hustling. Daryl Polk Jr. had 4 steals on Friday night, and it's knocked out of bounds. It's a Pepperdine ball, and Polk gave Pepperdine a spark off the bench the other night.
Yeah, he did, and a lot of it was his activity, his energy defensively. He was just, look, this is a ball you think Providence is going to come up with, and Polk ends up giving himself an opportunity at the rim. Man, he fell hard for not really getting touched.
Turnaround. Missed everything. Kessler Edwards. And Providence controls in David Duke.
I thought it was great talking to the officials. Chris Rassad, Kirby Sitt, and Ken Burdett Jr. Coming out of the first half, they said, whoa, like the start of that game, it was ugly. And they themselves did a great job of allowing players to work through the ugliness, right? They didn't call everything and make it worse. They did a great job of feeling the game out.
And they also sense, and they know what's going on. If both teams are 0-2, they don't want to go home 0-3.
Well, they're 0-2 and they're fatigued. They're tired.
And a foul going for the loose ball. It's on Colbey Ross of Pepperdine, his second.
Nobody wants to come to a tournament and not walk out of here with a victory, but also to do that while you're fatigued is one of the more challenging things. You know, the NCAA tournament tests your mental resolve more so than anything else. And it's that mental fatigue that settles in more so than the physical fatigue. Everybody gets second, third, fourth, fifth win. Whatever you need, you go out and perform physically. But if you're tired mentally, you make bad decisions.
Well, the reverse. Khalif Young.
Well done. Give that one to Alpha Diallo, right? That's it. Give that basket to Alpha. Getting to the basket, drawing to great interior pass. It's not an easy pass to make. It's going to be travel. Providence defense starting to pick things up. But that's what I'm talking about. You get to the paint. Here it is. Just a good, simple, patient move. Defense comes your way. That's a tough pass to make. Really is. Not a lot of room to work with. Still makes the pass. Good, strong finish. Providence is starting to get it going. Really, you just feel like they're starting to get it going. And at some point this season, it's going to click, and you're going to say, man, they're much better than the record says they are.
This is a team that was picked to come in 4th in the Big East preseason poll.
I wouldn't count them out either. I think this is a team that, as they get things going, again, I talked about the 3 C's, right? Continuity, consistency, and in the end, that develops more confidence. And once they develop that confidence, get the ball rolling, they trust one another, that's when you're going to see them maximize the potential of this unit.
Malik White now with 8. Watson, White, and Young 8 points apiece to lead Providence. The Friars have their largest lead of the night. 9 for Kessler Edwards to lead Pepperdine. He leads all scorers in the game as the foul called on Khalif Young of Providence, his first.
And I like John Zedek being back in the game. He was really aggressive with his energy more so than anything else. I like that too.
Colbey Ross with his second 3.
But you need guys like that, particularly when you have Cameron Edwards on the bench. Johnny Smith on the bench, sick. You know, you need guys to just come in and bring good, positive energy, bring some confidence, go make something happen. Winning plays aren't always just buckets.
Juwan Pipkin straight on, rattles out a 3. Skylar Chavez clears for Pepperdine. Skylar Chavez missing a 3. Here comes David Duke for the Friars. Fast break opportunity, but a charge. Offensive foul on Malik White.
Yeah, they had numbers. Providence had numbers. And at times, this is where if you're Providence, you got to get some floor spacers. Even in transition, everybody wants to run to the rim and get a layup or dunk. Everyone's pointing up as if you're going to catch a lob. You got to get out to the three-point line. That's going to be what creates more space to make a good decision. You had a 4-on-1. But the problem is your 2 extra offensive players became defenders. That only makes sense to like half the population. And I'm all right with that.
Am I part of the other half?
You're probably part of the other half.
6-point lead for Providence. Number 14, Arizona against Wake Forest. As the Wildcats have one of the best offenses in college basketball, and 3 great freshmen will be on display when you see Nico Mannion, Josh Green, and Zeke Naji.
Yeah, the problem is you see the youthfulness of that defense from time to time, and that's going to be the issue. They've got to figure out how to be more a simple, safe defense from time to time for Arizona is going to get the job done because of the talent they have on the offensive end.
And you'll think at some point they'll figure that out because that's what Sean Miller's teams have done over the years. Shot clock violation. Pepperdine with a turnover.
Yeah, look, they will, but if you look at what Coach K has done over the years, there's only so much you can teach a young group, but you don't want to overwhelm them. You can't say enough about that with the one and done style of play, right? There's only so much you can teach without overwhelming them. If you overwhelm these guys, they become stifled, and they're a shell of who they could potentially be. So you have to live with certain mistakes. The problem is the mistakes you can't live with, Arizona at times gives up layups.
Skylar Chavez short on a transition 3. Inside and a putback. Couple of chippies that Kessler Edwards missed on. And finally Pepperdine gets it in.
You pad your offensive rebounding stats, but at some point you just got to make the shot. Kessler Edwards has had a couple of them on the left side that he hasn't gotten to go. He's got to elevate and finish.
4-point game. And Providence, a turnover.
When Providence shared the basketball early in the first half, just got it moving around, made back cuts, again, cut hard. They always play hard, but there's a difference between playing hard and cutting hard. A purposeful hard cut changes the defense. Playing hard is, get in line, everybody plays hard.
Colbey Ross with Jan Zidek of the offensive glass. Zidek lays it in. 12 for Jan Zidek.
Zidek's a big boy. You forget that from time to time. And if you just throw your body around, your body's going to hit the floor.
7 straight for Pepperdine to climb within 2. Alpha Diallo over to A.J. Reeves. Fouled. He'll get to the line. It's on Skylar Chavez, his first.
I think Alpha Diallo has to touch the ball twice every offensive possession. And I only say that because I watch what the defense does when everybody gets a catch. And there are some guys that get a catch that doesn't really change the defense. Alpha Diallo definitely changes, man. Zidek, rib shot.
From Nate Watson. That's what had Zidek hunched over.
A.J. Reeves
at the line for Providence.
Although these guys all wear those like mini flak jackets. You see the padded tights and stuff like that.
Still, Nate Watson got pretty good.
Yeah, it's not like a Tom Brady flak jacket. It's a piece of foam.
First appearance this weekend for Jackson Stormo, a freshman, or rather a sophomore from Santa Barbara for Pepperdine, as Lorenzo Romar having to go deeper into his bench minus a couple of key guys.
It's a great opportunity. Just see what you're working with. Like, guys in practice could look good, but you want to see how they respond in a game.
Stormo, a wide body.
How would you feel? How would you feel if someone's like, hey, Roxy Bernstein, a wide body?
He is big. He's broad.
That sounds better. That sounds better. Stormo, the wide body.
Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong.
He's a physical presence for Pepperdine. And there he is defending Watson.
Also got a good side part going. That's important these days.
It's got to look good up in Malibu. As a 3 drained by A.J. Reeves.
It's amazing. More than 3 passes, or 3 passes or more. We'll look at it that way. Like, you get 3 passes or more, Pepperdine's got good things going. But when it gets stagnant on the offensive end, you might want to stop him.
Colbey Ross with 13.
And Ed Cooley's mad because there was no communication on the ball screen. If the defender's not up and you're not playing the ball screen the same way the guy covering the ball is, then you're going to have problems.
Nate Watson with 10, a season high.
A little flow going to this second half. Took us long enough.
Took him a little while to get going as Colbey Ross is hacked. Will get to the line.
It's funny to think about this, and coaches don't like it, but sometimes if I'm coaching one team, say I'm coaching Pepperdine, I'm Lorenzo Romar, I'm kind of okay with Providence getting it going because every time they've got it going, Pepperdine's had an answer. They picked it up. They found a little rhythm and flow to the game. There are times where it's hard to find flow in the game because your opponent just isn't doing anything. So at times you've got to be appreciative of the fact that both teams got the ball moving a little bit. I actually think that favors Pepperdine, who wants to get up and down the field, take quick shots.
And we saw it here Thursday with Pepperdine, John. Every time that Arizona seemed like they grabbed a stranglehold on the game and started to create some separation, Pepperdine had a response. They just wouldn't go away. And getting that feeling here that every time Providence makes a surge, Pepperdine has an answer.
And I think it's going to be tough for Pepperdine when you got to go so deep into your bench. Like you said, no Johnny Smith out with an illness, no Cameron Edwards, broken nose. That's going to test you. And the problem is you're playing an Arizona team that no one's expecting you to beat. So there's a fearlessness there that is empowering. And I think we saw that Thursday night.
Cedric Altman, the foul, sending Alpha Diallo to the line. And when Lorenzo Romar is already down a couple of players coming into this tournament, and he's down 2 more starters in this one, there aren't those expectations for Pepperdine. You're down all these guys. How are you going to compete with Providence out of the Big East?
You don't have those expectations. You still don't want to make that drive back up north with 3 straight losses. I mean, guys still look. There are times you go into a game where you go, you don't really expect to win, but we're going to do everything we can to win this basketball game. We're competitors as players, right? Even if you really don't expect it, if you're playing Duke and you're a mid-major, you're sitting there going, this is one of the best teams in the country. Do you really expect to win the game? Anybody that says they do, they're probably lying.
Do you think Stephen F. Austin expected to go into Cameron Indoor and win?
They just wanted to go compete. They wanted to go prove that they belong. That's what you do. And if you do it well enough, you have a chance to win.
At what point during a game like that do you start to believe that you can win?
Hopefully never. Because the second you start thinking about going, oh, man, we could win this game, you're probably lost.
Skylar Chavez fouled, will get to the line for Pepperdine. We've seen already so many upsets along the way. With #1s falling, Kentucky losing at home, Duke losing at home.
That's what you get with young teams. I mean, look, Michigan State, not the best team in the country. They don't have a full slate of complementary players. Joshua Langford's the biggest key, but also Hauser not being eligible to play. That kills them. Kentucky, a young team. They get down, their youth is exposed. The same thing goes for Duke. Doesn't mean late in the season they may not be one of the best teams in the country. I also think young teams in particular, have to lose if you want to teach. Coach K is not sweating a loss. He's not. He's been around. He understands what it takes. And that loss is going to be a great teaching opportunity. You want to get guys to buy into doing the little things, those little things that are good habits that lead to more wins, consistent wins. You may want to lose a game every now and then.
A.J. Reeves fouled, and Skylar Chavez can't believe it. He's in disbelief.
Good ball movement from Pepperdine, from Providence, though. And that's been the biggest change.
Providence going to the line. We had the Frozen Parade earlier.
I know, you're more of a Sven guy.
A.J. Reeves at the line. And he'll have 2 more shots coming as he was fouled by Skylar Chavez shooting a 3. 3 for 3 from the line. He has 10 points along with Nate Watson to lead Providence, and now Reeves with 11.
It sounds crazy that coming into this game, I watched this tape on Providence, and I couldn't figure out what is keeping them from realizing their potential. I really did. I watched this going, I don't know what it is. The pieces are there. And I think as the ball moves, the right play presents itself. And that's, I think, going to be the key for Providence. If they can just get the ball moving early enough in the game to establish a little rhythm on the offensive end. They play good defense. They rebound the basketball. They're physical. They play hard. That's all you need.
And a foul on Luwan Pipkins. His second. 6th team foul, so the next one will put Pepperdine into the bonus for the rest of the night. And that will be a plus for the Waves, considering coming into tonight, #1 in the country in free throw shooting, although it hasn't helped them out tonight.
Well, part of that is they hadn't really got to the free throw line that much.
True, small sample size.
Yes, credit to Providence.
And there is a foul on Emmett Holt, his 3rd. So 1-1 for Colbey Ross.
And that's the problem. With ball screens, what you do is you put bigs in a situation where they have to make a decision. And the first decision they have to make is to sprint up and help. Get yourself in position. The college game doesn't defend ball screens very well. They will in the next couple years, because what's happened is college game initially is Colbey Ross. There you go, talking about the great foul shooting.
93% on the year. At one point, he had 32 in a row converted.
At least you didn't say that right before the miss.
No. Learned my lesson in the first half when I was talking glowingly about their foul shooting. Block counted +1. Alpha Diallo for Providence.
I really think he needs the ball in his hands more, especially with guys cutting through, making movements. You know, he's the kind of guy, he's probably the toughest matchup on the floor, and that's what you always look for. When I'm scouting teams getting ready for a game, I look at the Pepperdine team and say, who's the toughest guy to match up against? And then you look on the other side and say, who's the toughest guy for Providence to match up against? It's Alpha Diallo. So that means he needs to be involved every single play, even if his involvement is that of a decoy.
11-point lead for the Friars now, their largest of the night. Well, danger zone maybe here for Pepperdine now.
I think you got to go back to the ball screen.
Colbey Ross left it behind. Luwan Pipkins pushes. Diallo. Emmett Holt underneath. Counted and won the foul. Jackson Stormo.
How about the patience and the poise of Alpha Diallo? He gets the ball back, and that is almost, watch his right, and it's almost a guaranteed charge situation. But he's so well respected that my great-grandson still claims me. You know what I mean? Like, that's, you talk about the legacy of John Wooden. That passes the test of time, man. It goes through centuries.
Emmett Holt gives Providence now 61-47 lead.
You have a couple good games. Those in your generation, those in your time will remember you, especially if you tell the story well. If you have a career like John Wooden and impact people in the lives that he's impacted the way he has, man, it's centuries people will remember you.
Not just the 10 national championships, which the basketball people will look to, but it's the impact that he had on the players' lives that he had to come through his program, even just the people he came in contact with.
It's the timelessness of his teaching, too. That's the big part. That's going to be a legal screen. It's the timelessness of his teaching. I think that's the thing. You talk so much about, the game's changed, everything's so different. The things that John Wooden taught hadn't changed. They haven't changed. And as much as you get away from it, you realize that sometimes the simplicity of it, building the foundation and building good character, will make you a winner.
Tough shots. Kessler Edwards.
Talk about one of the most quotable coaches, too. And I mean, like Churchill-like quotes, right? One of my favorite Churchill quotes is, you know, you make a living by what you get, you make a life by what you give. And Wooden had a lot of similar thoughts, all tied to basketball, but incredibly relevant to everything you do in your life. So when Bill Walker talks about John Wooden, he doesn't talk about just how he made him a better player. He talks about how he made him a better man. And it's, you know, I think that's what every coach aspires to do. But when you get in the confines of competitiveness, it's easy to let a lot of this go. John Wooden never lost sight of what he was really doing. He was a teacher of men, not just a teacher of basketball players.
Foul on Ross, his third, and the front end miss from A.J. Reeves. Failing to prepare, preparing to fail.
I mean, look, is that not universal?
Colbey Ross, the three.
I tell myself that coming into every broadcast.
9-point game with 9 to go. Now, did you guys have the pyramid of success in the UCLA locker room?
Yeah, absolutely. Got it in my office.
Alpha Diallo missing the reverse. Kessler Edwards off balance. The offensive rebound, and Jackson Stormo with an edge to UCLA.
Yeah.
And obviously you're aware of the lore and know what John Wooden is, but did your perception change once you were at UCLA from the Wooden you thought and the impact to then the reality you got to know when you were a Bruin?
Yes, because I think it's human nature to look for holes and say, it couldn't have been like that all the time. Well, then you come in and you go, he's one of the biggest celebrities in Los Angeles, yet he lives in the same apartment that he lived in years ago, right? That says everything you need to know about John Wooden. He really is who he is. And in this world, I hate to put Los Angeles in this category, but it's keeping up with the Joneses. And he was so good at being him. He was so secure, so stable, that he didn't have to be anybody else. He didn't have to aspire to have things that everybody else at his level had. He just was content. And that contentment is so empowering, man. It's so motivating. It gives you humility and arrogance at the same time. And I don't mean like arrogance in the sense that I'm better than everybody else. It's empowering and it gives you conviction. I call it humble arrogance.
And the amazing thing was he would take his seat behind the UCLA bench at home. Every home game he was there. And then he would stay. Any fan that wanted an autograph or picture, he took it with him. So gracious with his time. As Jan Zidek, the son of a former Bruin, now with 14.
And it's interesting, I always thought that was tough. And I remember asking him one day, he came to practice, and I kind of got him on the side, and I said, what, have you ever thought about coming to games as to whether it's good or bad? He goes, a lot, yes. And he understood the pressure that it brought because it elevated expectations. The expectations pointed back to John Wooden, not the expectations of the then current team. So he was fully aware of it, but he was too important, man. He had to be there, and it was important to him.
Providence.
It's the weirdest thing. It's typical of a young team, but they are going to have to continue to get better and better on the defensive end. Nico Mannion, best player in the tournament so far?
Oh, without question.
Without question, man.
16 points, 11 assists against Pepperdine. Hit the game winner here Thursday. And then career high 24 on Friday against Penn to get Arizona to the championship game tonight.
Who do you think has the best professional career based on what you've seen from Arizona so far?
I'm going to go with Mannion. You?
I think Josh Green's going to surprise people. Like I said, I kind of said Bradley Beal because of that physicality, because of that ability to shoot it, get out in transition. He handles it really well, but he's got a great, strong body.
And Zeke Naji, who is off to the best start of the freshman of his young career at Arizona.
He's got to continue to develop that facilitator part of his game because he's going to get so much attention every time the ball comes his way, especially when you shoot 80% from the floor.
Jan Zidek, speaking of freshmen, he is 16 points, so he's a guy that maybe will be the silver lining for Lorenzo Romar coming out of this game, considering he needed somebody to step up, and it's Zidek. And you talked about it early, John. You saw something in his game tonight.
There's a confidence there, but also he does a lot of little things well. And if you do a lot of little things well, you put your team in a position to win. I think even defensively, he's a good communicator.
Wild shot from Lawan Pipkins, but Pepperdine turns it right back over to Pipkins. (64-56), the Friars on top. Three, stroked by A.J. Reeves.
What a great execution. Comes off that screen as if he's going to come through. Defense fights over it, and then he got to come back, pin down screen. He's able to get open.
Colbey Ross drains a three.
Offense, bad defense, we'll call it. You give up a bucket, but you come right back down and you play with aggressiveness.
That's what he can do. He may give up 2 or 3, but he'll get you 3 at the other end. Leaf Young inside. And Zidek, playing with his 4 fouls, held his ground. And a foul on Providence will send Kessler Edwards to the line.
Reeves had a great offensive action. Back screen, re-screen. Here it is. Comes off, just throws Colbey Ross and gets an open look. Reeves could have done that better. And I say better, meaning just slow down a little bit. Sell the cut. If you set a good screen, you're going to get open.
One more for Edwards.
Because the counter to that is the screener's going to be the guy that gets open on that slip, right? Back screen, go to the rescreen. Screener's defender's going to have to jump that, take that pass away. That's where the slip's going to be available. So there's always things that you can build on. There are options within the offense. It's not about X's and O's anymore. It's not like we're going to run salute 2 and get exactly what we want. Good luck. It's not how the game is played. You've got to create offensive actions that have options within those actions.
And the tough thing to defend Pepperdine is when they have their full complement of guys. They're all skilled. All 5 guys are a threat to score.
Yeah, that is really hard to defend.
Nice move in the lane, and Nate Watson having a big ball game. 15 now for the junior.
Nate Watson's been good off the bench, and they've gotten great bench production, this Providence team, and that's been part of the key to their success here. You get 35, 40 points off the bench, you should win the basketball game. And call it what it may. Maybe they're more fresh, right? Maybe they have, more excitement about being on the floor. The shame is Yadzidic picks up his 5th foul.
Fouls out with 16 points.
And he'll get better at that. He'll get better at that because he'll start to play defense early. You play position defense, you don't pick up as many fouls.
Daryl Polk the pull-up. And the offensive rebound and a foul going back up will get Kessler Edwards to the line.
It's a great opportunity to offensive rebound in transition. Shot goes up early. Defense isn't really set. That's where you work your way to the basket if you're Kessler Edwards.
Third on Nate Watson. 5 of 6 at the line for Edwards. One more coming now, 14 for the sophomore. And trying to get Pepperdine's foul shooting back on track, as they are now 12 for 19 from the line, which is just 63%. They've shot 80% or better from the line in each of their first 8 games this year. Here comes Colbey Ross out of the pack. Daryl Polk the floater. And the rebound tip to A.J. Reeves for Providence.
Daryl Polk may have had Stormo cut into the basket, but he's got to hold that defender just a split second longer. I would have shot at those two.
Inside 10 to shoot. David Duke. Watson. And a block before the shot. And about 100 pounds and about a foot.
It's like a Prius going up against a Mack truck.
My money's not on the Prius.
No.
Although Nate Watson now 1 for 4 at the line, but he came in only a 20% foul shooter on the season.
You're not a Prius guy, are you?
No.
Okay.
Are you?
No, I'm just.
Do you have anything against Priuses?
No, that's the thing. Sometimes, look, you say things and you go, you gotta know your present company. You know what I mean? Like.
And a foul and a heady play by Colbey Ross will get a couple of free throws. It's the second on A.J. Reeves. And there's the craftiness of Ross to pick up that foul at midcourt.
It is. That foul drives me nuts, though. Look, it's a heady play. It's a smart play. But poor dude's just running down the floor trying to get back on.
Either you were caught guilty of that too many times or you didn't get it called to go your way.
I didn't handle the ball well enough to be able to do that. But I did get caught, sprinting back on defense. Colbey Ross, he just stops and jumps into the guy. I don't know what you can do. Look, I really don't know what you could do. I mean, it's a foul. I'm not arguing that. I'm not going to try to change the rules. It's unfortunate. Put it that way.
Here's Pepperdine back within 4. A.J. Reeves missing from deep. Offensive rebound, the putback, David Duke.
That's going to be the challenge for Pepperdine. When Providence moves the basketball, they put the defense in a situation where they are. They have to follow the ball. They have to move. They have to rotate. And they've gotten out of defensive rebounding position when they've had to do so.
Colbey Ross off balance. 25 for Colbey Ross.
He's not elevating. He's really not. He's not jumping over anybody. He's just using his body. He's crafty. He just understands how to play the game.
(71-67) Friars. And it's out of bounds. A Providence turnover. Colbey Ross trying to pull Providence, or rather Pepperdine, back into this one with the Friars.
Colbey Ross is as crafty as it gets. And, when you understand your own, you can keep down your funnel cake. Some people, inner ear problems, walk off those things with vertigo.
My son wanted no part of the roller coaster. Didn't like the upside down part.
No thanks.
4-point game. Colbey Ross, again, smart play to get to the line. David Duke, his 4th foul. And 2 more free throws. Ross, 4 for 5 at the line. 25 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists for Ross.
21 of which came in the second half.
He is 6 of 7 from the floor here in the second half. So 22 in the second half. By the way, the Wooden Legacy record for points in a half is 26 back in 2008. That was the year Wake Forest won the tournament, but it was not a Demon Deacon. It was a Sun Devil. James Harden had 26 and a half in 2008.
That was pre-traveling step backs.
Oh, no, he still did it then. Oh, just not at the flurry. Speaking of flurries, David Duke.
Wow, man, defense got lifted, and David Duke was able to sweep through one dribble and finish at the rim. You got to wonder if defensive continuity, as Colbey Ross just continues to pour it in. Defensive continuity has been an issue for Pepperdine, and that's what happens when you have so many injuries. Jan Zedek was great, but he had 5 fouls.
29 points for Colbey Ross. 73-71 Providence, 2:39 to go.
Talk about Providence or Pepperdine's defense.
He's getting a brief breather here, as Jan Zedek has already fouled out with 16 points, and Pepperdine down a couple of starters in this game.
I bet he comes back a second. There's a dead ball, and they have the ball and off. Yep, here he comes.
That rest.
Yeah.
Maybe an offense for defense.
This is a power nap.
David Duke, impressive move. The pull-up rattles out from Kessler Edwards.
That's a tough one. I mean, you really need Colbey Ross in the game, in that possession.
Would you have taken a timeout to get him back in?
Possibly, yeah. Honestly, possibly, because he's been so important.
Daryl Polk Jr. the steal.
And we got nothing going here. All right.
Inside, Edwards, the kick out to Polk. Polk to the bucket. First points of the game for Daryl Polk Jr. And a timeout. We've got a 2-point game.
And Lorenzo Romar stole one right there. He stole a possession. Because
But if you're Providence, where are you looking to attack?
I still think ball movement has led to easy opportunities, and it's not just for one or the other. I think you got to get Alpha Diallo involved. He finds the open man. Defense is scrambling. There you get a good look.
A.J. Reeves missing from the corner, but a reload for Providence and a fresh shot clock.
But again, when the defense is scrambling and you get a good look, and the shot's contested to the point where the defender goes out of the play, you got an opportunity to offensive rebound.
Alpha Diallo. That could not have worked out any better for Ed Cooley.
Took a lot of time off the clock, multiple possessions. And now you need to stop if you're Providence.
Colbey Ross fumbles it away. David Duke to the bucket. Knocked out of bounds by Kessler Edwards. And they,
young guys, they anticipate that being a foul. It's an open layup in transition. It's likely going to be a foul. This ref center didn't call that a foul because in that moment, he didn't see a foul.
Skylar Chavez moving in. Ross, tough pull-up. Rims out of three. The tip in from the weak side by Kessler Edwards.
Wow. That was one heck of a tip in. Kessler Edwards timed that thing perfectly. Got it at its peak. It was like a tip down from what I saw. It wasn't even like a tip up and in. The foul shots, you got to get the ball in bounds. And I also like the fact Alpha Diallo's taking the ball out. He's going to make a good decision. And he's also going to make himself available to get the ball right back.
He can run the baseline, and if it's a tie-up, it's a Providence ball. Lawan Pipkins in the backcourt. And they fouled Diallo, 23.2 to go.
Got like a quiet poise to his game. Sometimes I want to see him bust out. Because if he just busts out, he could dominate basketball games.
2 shots for Diallo.
He's on my first team. Don't you realize how good you could be, team? There's a lot of those guys out there. You start to think about it. You go, that guy could be way better than he is. Not way better, but just more impactful. Change the game more than he does.
So 3-point game. Does Pepperdine go for a quick 2? Do they go for a 3?
Good hands.
And a foul will put Providence back at the line in an empty possession for the Waves.
Great move by Ed Cooley, going to double Colbey Ross. Get the ball out of his hands. Make somebody else beat you. It's as simple as that. But they didn't hard pressure him. They played 2 with Colbey Ross. They just kind of stayed alongside, forced the tough pass, got the deflection. David Duke's that foul line.
And Duke now 3 for 3 at the line. Good second half for David Duke. And that one makes it a 2-possession game. Pepperdine needs to go quickly.
Same thing. You got 3 defenders on him, one of which is the sideline.
Chavez missing a 3. Rebound tipped out of bounds. And they say Pepperdine ball. They may review this one.
Look at it.
Call on the floor is Pepperdine ball, 6.8 remaining.
I don't mind when they do this, particularly down the stretch. I know coaches who are down love it because they get a chance at a free timeout.
They've added some time, 7.4, and a 5-point lead for the Friars, who've led by as many as 14. And Pepperdine made a last charge to try to get back into this one and had opportunities here. Kessler Edwards has to go track it down. Force 3. Pull. Gets it to go. That's the ball game, and Providence hangs on. 80-77. They knock off Pepperdine and Ed Cooley's team. Got a much-needed win here today against Pepperdine.